pull out the old song that the Commodores used to sing and let some stuff sail on. You gotta let some of them ships sail on. Now, I ain't gonna try to sing because that ain't where my anointing's at. But y'all know the old Commodore song that I'm talking about. old Lionel Richie and the gang, when they would say the whole sail on, honey, good times never felt so good. Like I said, that's not my anointing. And I know that. Got no problem. But when you need some information to help your life change, holler at your boy. Because I can do that, and I can walk you through the appointed times, and I can walk you through the appointed seasons and show you how to grow yourself and establish yourself in such a way that no weapon formed against you will prosper if you'll follow my instructions. Now, if you don't want to listen, it's on you. I can't force you. But what I want you to get out of this, I want you to go to the book of Acts chapter 27. That's where we're going to start out. Acts 27, verses 13 through 26. We good to go, Kim? Okay. All right. Those of you that just come in online, you already know things opposing what we know is fixed to be life-changing. Because like I said, sometimes to get the best rest of your life, for the rest of your life, you'll have to let some of them ships sail, some of them relationships, fellowships, situationships, friendships, all of them ships, you gotta sometimes let them sail so that you can get to where you need to be for the sake of God's kingdom. Now again, the fact that those ships can sail, I want you to understand, that doesn't mean that they're bad. They're still ships and they're still afloat. They just ain't supposed to be in your fleet. So don't go trying to put a curse on them and say that they're bad and all of that kind of stuff. They just don't fit your fleet. So understand this. So in Acts chapter 27, beginning at verse 13, I'm going to read down through verse 26. It says, "And when the south wind blew softly, supposing that they had obtained their purpose, loosing thence they sailed close by Crete. But not long after there arose against it a tempestuous wind called Euroclydon. And when the ship was caught and could not bear up into the wind, we let her drive." In other words, they let it sail. Wherever it went, that's where it went. "And the running under," watch this, "running under a certain island, which is called Clauda, we had much work to come by the boat." Which when they had taken up, they used helps undergirding the ship, and fearing lest they should fall into the quicksands, strake sail, and so were driven. So in other words, they came up on a land. They had to stop and do some repairs. You know about that. You done had to stop and do some repairs. You had to do a few this week. You had to do some restructuring. And had to use some reestablishing your mind. What you've got to understand is that's part of the process, okay? Sometimes the state that you're in won't get you where you need to be. Sometimes the state that you're in, I ain't talking about nobody else's ship, I'm talking about yours this time. The state that you're in won't get you where you need to be. So watch what happens. Verse 17, it says, When they had taken up, they used helps undergirding the ship, fearing lest they should fall into the quicksand, strake sail, and so were driven. And we, being exceedingly tossed with a tempest, the next day they lightened the ship. So they tried to keep everything the way it was, everything that was on the ship. They tried to fix the ship to be able to sail like that. And then they realized, wait, we still too heavy. And that's what you have to understand. Sometimes you try to keep things like it was and it's still too heavy. Still too heavy. So watch what they got to do. Goes on and says, lighten the ship. So lightening the ship means something got to go overboard. See, some of y'all got too much on your plate. You're trying to do too many things. Trying to do stuff you're not equipped for. Trying to do stuff you're not built for. And now the ship won't even sail. You can't even move because you got all of that stuff on your mind and in your ship. Watch verse 19. It says, in the third day, we cast out with our own hands the tackling of the ship. So they still, day by day, figuring out, all right, we don't need this has got to go. We don't need this has got to go. So watch what happens. Verse 20 says, and when neither sun nor stars in many days appeared, and no small tempest lay on us, all hope that we should be saved was then taken away. So you done tried to undergird the ship, strengthen the ship, throw stuff off the ship, done everything, and it's still dark. Still dark. Because we're talking about your mind and your fingerprint now. Still dark. So now, I just ain't got no hope. I just ain't got no hope that this is going to work. Watch this. Watch what else happens. It then says, but after long abstinence, Paul stood forth in the midst of them and said, sirs, you should have listened to what I said. I tried to tell you not to cast this boat out because it was going to be storm coming that you ain't equipped for. You decided you wanted to roll on like that anyway. Look at what he says. You should have hearkened unto me and not have loosed from Crete, and to have gained this harm and loss. And now I exhort you, be of good cheer. So basically Paul gives him the backhand and then says, all right, still be of good cheer. And here's why. Be of good cheer, for there shall be no loss of any man's life among you, but of the ship. Now understand, the ship gonna die. We ain't gonna be able to do no more sailing on this ship. But you'll have your life. Now watch, because this is vital. Goes on and says, for there stood by me this night the angel of God, whose I am, and whom I serve, saying, fear not, Paul, thou must be brought before Caesar. He said, you got some kings to meet. You got some stuff that's got to happen for you. So since you got some stuff that's got to happen for you, this ain't the end of the road. Now, I know the way you getting tossed around, and as dark as it's looking and as much hope as you feel like you ain't got, you're good. See, because he's addressing Paul. So here's what I want you to understand. Some of y'all know that the ship is rocking because of somebody else. We're going to get you somewhere today. I told you, this is the 20th message. We're going to redeem some stuff. You know that the ship is rocking because of somebody else. You know it ain't going the way that it should go because of somebody else. You know this. You see it. You understand it. Now, it still ain't your business to try to get them on track. That's not your business. That's not what's fixing to happen here. So I want you to understand that don't fall for that trap. I done already been in that trap many times. So don't fall for that trap, okay? So watch what else he says here. He says, thou must be brought before Caesar, and lo, God hath given thee all them that sail with thee. And see, for all of y'all that's got the confessions, and there's a part in the confession that says the families that are connected to me are blessed. That's part of what this is about. Here's why I need you to understand it. Because he says, wherefore, sirs, be of good cheer, for I believe God, that it shall be even as it was told me. See, this is what you got to get right here. Some of y'all still believing in the storm, you still believing in the ship, you still believing in what you want, you still believing in all of that. Believe in what he said. Believe in what he told you. That's what you need to believe in, period. Not no alters, no adjustments, no nothing. Just what he said, period. And that's what you're going to have to stand on. And I'm going to walk you through some things later in the message so that you'll get this. But I want you to understand this part right here. He says, so it shall be even as it was told me. Verse 26, howbeit we must be cast upon a certain island. See, this is what you got to get. You ain't going to be able to be successful just anywhere. See, you thinking you can just go anywhere and be successful. And you might have the potential to do that, but you don't have the appointment to do it. You got the potential to be successful anywhere you go. But here's the issue. You've got appointed places that God means for you to walk so that your successes add up to build your fingerprint. See, you got to go to certain places. You can't just go anywhere. You got to go where he's appointed you to go. So watch this. The fact that he says, howbeit we must be cast upon a certain island. Here's what I need you to get. See, some of y'all been trying to make some stuff work in some situations, and it just ain't working. And here's what you got to get. When you can't figure out the madness to somebody's method, let the method stay mad instead of you getting mad. Just let them stay in their method of madness, because it ain't meant for you to figure it out. That's their madness, not yours. That's their madness, not yours. So watch this. See, two can't walk together if one is either already running or started out running and won't slow down. And see, you trying to make some stuff happen, and people have already got thoughts in their head, watch this, of what their fingerprint's supposed to be. And here's what you got to get. Sometimes you ain't supposed to be walking with them. See, a couple of weeks ago when I didn't understand how God was blessing me with my broken smartphone. I didn't fully get what he was doing until this week. Because what I want you to get is, I told y'all about how I had written down the number of a pastor friend that had contacted me before my phone broke. Watch this. And the only reason that I was able to contact him was because I used the church phone by having the number that I had wrote down. Okay? Now after that phone call, watch this, God started revealing some stuff to me. Now, I didn't tell y'all this because I knew it wasn't time. After that phone call, God started revealing some stuff to me. He showed me that because, watch this, I had still had the same number for so long and for so many years, he was able to get a new number and still call me. Pay close attention to what I'm finna tell you. He was able to change numbers, do all of his stuff on his end, still be able to get in contact with me on my end because I had the same number. I had the same contact information and have had it for years and plan on keeping it. Here's what I want you to get out of this though. Even though his number changed, he was still able to get in contact with me. But I told y'all, he had called me 3 to 4 times before then. I didn't recognize the number, and I'm not fixing to answer because I'm thinking you the car warranty people, and I'm tired of answering the phone to y'all. So that number that I didn't recognize, I just didn't answer. So here's what I need you to get out of this. He had a new number, all of that. Then the Lord said, remember what he got in contact with you for? I'm like, yeah, no problem. He said, now I want you to think back to the last time that he contacted you. So what ended up happening was, since my screen was blacked out, I couldn't transfer my information. Thankfully, I had my previous phone that I had before the one that the screen messed up on. So I went and got what I could as far as contacts and all that stuff from that phone. Now, his number was in there. So I still had the old number. So I was able to go back and see when he contacted me. And then I could remember what he contacted me for. He was contacting me for the same thing he did that time. He's about to start something new. He's about to start teaching something new. He's trying to hit me up for information. Which, again, I ain't got no problem with. But watch this. Then, the Lord reminded me of another pastor friend. And he had me to check the same pattern with him. I said, all right, so I understand. I'm not mad and I'm not thinking nothing about this stuff. This is just God coming to me and saying, okay, I need you to look at this. So, because so much so, I started thinking, man, is this the enemy trying to get me to go back, start thinking about all of this other stuff and think about these past things. The Lord said, no, this is me. Look it up. So I look, like, all right. So I go looking, and I'm like, Lord, what's really going on? And he said, I'm about to give you some instructions. I'm going to reveal something to you, and don't you back off of it. Again, I'm thinking, I didn't have no animosity with them when I was away from these people. I didn't have no problem with them. Now, they might have had a problem with me, but they never said it. I don't know what they did. But I didn't have no problem with them, so I'm thinking, Lord, what do you want me to do here? Y'all might want to write this down. He said, quit being a convenient contact or an intentional informant for those who don't otherwise interact or do any exchange with you until it's convenient with them. He said, quit being a convenient contact or intentional informant for those that don't otherwise interact with you or do any exchange with you until it's convenient for them. And here's what I want you to understand about that. To this day, for the number of phone calls that I've given in exchange to those two that I'm talking about, and for anybody that's possibly thinking, oh, that's discord, you need to just give them grace, I'm following what the Lord told me to do. Up to that point, because one of those, again, the Lord gave me a specific list. There was a time about 2.5 years ago that a situation was going on, and the Lord said, I'm giving you 6 names. I want you to call each name. So I called each name, and only 2, well, let me just say this. 1 willingly helped. 1 partially helped. But the other 4 didn't help at all. So I'm like, okay. No biggie. Again, because in my head, I'm thinking, Lord, you provided, so I ain't worried about it. He said, yes, but I want you to understand something before you go to this next level. He said, I want you to understand something before you go to this next level. And that's when he started explaining about the convenient contact, the intentional informant, and they don't interact with you on a regular basis, nor do they make any exchange with you for the information. Because out of all of the numbers of calls that I've given and taken from them to help them with information, over a period of about 20 years with one, of about 8 years with the other, they've sold to this ministry 1 time a piece. One time. Just one. Now again, we good. God got us. But I'm trying to show you there are people that have been using you for convenience and ain't making no exchange. They ain't making no exchange. So watch this, because I'm trying to help you with your fingerprint and your mind. This is why. See, in Hebrews 13, verses 15 through 16, Hebrews 13, verses 15 and 16, says this. It says, by him, therefore, let us offer the sacrifice of praise to God continually. That is the fruit of our lips, giving thanks to his name. But to do good and to communicate, forget not. For with such sacrifices, God is well pleased. Now I want you to understand something. That word communicate in verse 16 comes from the Greek word koinonia. And what koinonia means, it means partnership, participation, or benefaction. Partnership, you know what that means. Participation, you know what that means. Benefaction means donation or gift. So if they ain't partnering with you, they ain't participating with you, and they ain't exchanging no gift with you, I need for you to access the Commodores for them. And let them sail on. Because as long as that's happening, you're just a convenient contact. You're just a convenient contact. And they only contact you when it's convenient for them. Because if you done reached out to them and they couldn't help you, that's letting you know, all right, the exchange ain't equal here. And now, watch this, quit putting your fingerprint with them. See, here's what some of y'all been doing. Y'all been watching folks commit crimes, run up on folks, boom, shoot them with the gun, and then hand you the gun. And then you got your fingerprints all over the gun. So now, since you got your fingerprints all over the gun, watch this. If they go to fingerprint the gun, who they finna come looking for? They finna come looking for you. And you didn't do it. You didn't have nothing to do with it. But because you left your fingerprint on there, now they looking for you. See, this is what's done happen to y'all in a lot of different situations. They called you. You gave them the information. After you gave them the information, they didn't convey it right. And then when they didn't convey it right, they also said, such and such told me this. And now they looking at you, and they got beef with you, and you don't even understand why. Why am I telling you that? See, part of managing your fingerprint is to know where your fingerprint does not need to be. Part of you managing your fingerprint is knowing where your fingerprint does not need to be. So I want you to go to 1 Kings 13. 1 Kings 13. First Kings 13, verse 1 through 10 says this. 1 Kings 13, verse 1 through 10 says this. It says, and behold, there came a man of God out of Judah by the word of the Lord unto Bethel. Now notice what that says. Doesn't say he just came out on his own. says he came out by the word of the Lord unto Bethel, and Jeroboam stood by the altar to burn incense. And he cried against the altar in the word of the Lord, and said, O altar, altar, thus saith the Lord, behold, a child shall be born unto the house of David, Josiah by name, and upon thee shall he offer the priests of the high places that burn incense upon thee, and men's bones shall be burnt upon thee. And he gave a sign the same day, saying, This is the sign which the Lord hath spoken. Behold, the altar shall be rent, and the ashes that are upon it shall be poured out. So notice what's happening here. Jeroboam's the king. He's not the priest. He's the king. So the king's watching these actions. Here's why I need you to understand it. Verse 4 says, And it came to pass, when King Jeroboam heard the saying of the man of God, which had cried against the altar in Bethel, that he put forth his hand from the altar, saying, Lay hold on him. And his hand, which he put forth against him, dried up, so that he could not pull it in again to him. The altar also was rent, and the ashes poured out from the altar, according to the sign which the man of God had given by the word of the Lord. So I want you to understand what just took place there. Everything that he said happened. When the king tried to do something against what he was doing, God stopped it. That's what you need to get. You don't need to worry about what anybody else thinks about what God's giving you to do. You need to make sure that you're following the instructions of it. And when you're following the instructions of it, guess who's going to protect you? God will. That's why I continually give you the saying, His will, His bill. Your way, you pay. So with this, I want you to see, all right, he did what he was supposed to do, and God then protects him. Watch verse 6. Because 6 through 10, I'm probably fixing to start not acting right. And the king answered and said unto the man of God, Entreat now the face of the Lord thy God, and pray for me, that my hand may be restored me again. Now first he trying to stop what he was doing. Now he understands, wait, whoa, I need him to help me. So watch this. He says, And the man of God besought the Lord, and the king's hand was restored him again, and became as it was before. And the king said unto the man of God, Come home with me, and refresh thyself, and I will give thee a reward. Verse 8 through 10, you probably need to highlight, dog ear, triple scribble, do whatever you need to do to make sure that you don't forget what I'm fixing to show you in verse 8 through 10. Because he says, And the man of God said unto the king, If thou wilt give me half thine house, I will not go in with thee. Neither will I eat bread, nor drink water in this place. For so it was charged me by the word of the Lord, saying, Eat no bread, nor drink water, nor turn again by the same way that thou camest. So he went another way, and returned not by the way that he came to Bethel. Here's what I need for you to understand. The man of God understood, I don't care what you gonna give me. Watch this. I ain't going to your house. My fingerprint don't belong there. don't care what you want me to partake of and how much you want to give me. My fingerprint don't belong there. So since my fingerprint don't belong there, I don't care what you offer me, I still ain't doing it. See, this is why you've got to understand your purpose, your call, your fingerprint. That's why you got to understand that clearly. See, y'all have no idea of how many people, how many pastors, prophets, evangelists, teachers, all the different ones that's told me what you're doing ain't gonna work. Told me this right here wasn't gonna work. When we was in the hotel, they were saying this ain't gonna work. I'm not joking. I'm dead serious. There were many people that came. It's like, you need to be doing this, this, and this. No, I don't need to be doing that. Y'all might do that. And that might be what you're supposed to do. But I know exactly what I'm supposed to be doing. And that's what I'm going to keep doing. No, brother, it's not growing like it should. It's not yours. See, y'all can keep growing them flowers and keep getting quick results. I'll grow trees. I grow trees that's going to last. Because see, then, what sets us up is that after the tree gets grown, now we got enough to branch out. Here's why I need you to understand this. Because I want you to go to 2 Kings chapter 3, verses 11 through 16, so that I can show you that part of managing your fingerprint is to know where your fingerprint does not need to be. So I want you to see this, and I want you to see it clearly. That's why I'm showing this to you in two spots, and then we're going to take off. 2 Kings chapter 3, verse 11. Watch this. 11 through 16 says this. Says, but Jehoshaphat said, is there not here a prophet of the Lord, that we may inquire of the Lord by him? And one of the king, watch this, one of the king of Israel's servants answered and said, here is Elisha, the son of Shaphat, which poured water on the hands of Elijah. And Jehoshaphat said, the word of the Lord is with him. So the king of Israel and Jehoshaphat and the king of Edom went down to him. And Elisha said unto the king of Israel, what have I to do with thee? Get thee to the prophets of thy father and to the prophets of thy mother. And the king of Israel said unto him, nay, for the Lord hath called these three kings together to deliver them into the hand of Moab. And Elisha said, as the Lord of hosts liveth, before whom I stand surely, were it not that I regard the presence of Jehoshaphat, the king of Judah, I would not look toward thee nor see thee. You say, hold up, that's division. Again, you need to understand where your fingerprint belongs. Because when you understand where your fingerprint belongs, you'll know I ain't supposed to fool with that madness, because that madness ain't going to do nothing but make me mad. So Elisha understands something. He understands If Jehoshaphat wasn't with you, I wouldn't even be dealing with you right now. Why am I telling you that? Glad you asked. Look at what else happens. He says, but now bring me a minstrel. And it came to pass, when the minstrel played, that the hand of the Lord came upon him. Now, verse 16, because I wanted you to go through verse 16. It says, and he said, thus saith the Lord, make this valley full of ditches. Now, what I want you to understand is he didn't say dig one ditch. He said make the valley full of ditches. The reason I need you to understand that is because knowing where to not leave your fingerprint is especially vital whenever you come into your abundance. See, there's abundance coming to everybody because you connected to me. There's going to be abundance of many things coming to you. Again, because you connected to me. And I need for you to understand that, because you knowing your fingerprint is vital before the abundance comes. Because you knowing your fingerprint and knowing where it don't belong is going to save you from having a bunch of connections with some folk that ain't going to mean you no good. So see, y'all don't believe me. Y'all looking at me funny. I want you to understand, abundance will draw folk that normally wouldn't have been giving you a second look. So you fixing to start having an abundance of happiness. You're going to start having an abundance of revelation and information, knowing what to do and when to do it. You're going to have an abundance of wealth. You're going to have an abundance of a bunch of different things. And different people are going to be drawn for different things. And you're going to need to know who ain't got the right intent for wanting to connect up with you. And you're going to have enough backbone to know how to tell them to sail on. Because if you ain't got enough backbone to tell them to sail on, you're going to have them on ship with you and y'all going to be shipwrecked. So before the abundance comes, that's why I'm showing you this. So that you'll understand, yeah, something ain't feeling right about that, so let's put that on the back burner. Let's just hold off on that. Let's just wait on that, and you'll know. Now watch this, because I need for you to understand something. I want you to go to Ecclesiastes chapter 5. Ecclesiastes chapter 5, verse 8 through 10, and all act right just left the building. All act right just left the building, because in Ecclesiastes chapter 5, verse 8 through 10, watch this. Ecclesiastes chapter 5, verse 8 through 10 says this. It says, if thou seest the oppression of the poor and violent perverting of judgment and justice in a province. Does that not sound like a familiar place to you right now? Sound kind of like America, don't it? Watch this. If thou seest the oppression of the poor and violent perverting of judgment and justice in a province, marvel not at the matter. Look at what it says, marvel not at the matter. For he that is higher than the highest regardeth, and there be higher than they. Moreover, the profit of the earth is for all. The king himself is served by the field. Verse 10. He that loveth silver, what's the rest of that say? He that loveth silver shall not be satisfied with silver, nor he that loveth abundance with increase. This is also vanity. So I want you to understand something about verse 10. In verse 10, basically you can replace the way that it's set up, because it's trying to show you two separate things about he that loveth silver and he that loveth abundance. That's what it's trying to show you. And the reason that I need you to see that is because, watch what it says about that abundance. Nor he that loveth abundance, you can put in there, shall not be satisfied with increase. Because what it's showing is that neither will be satisfied with what they possess. Neither will be satisfied with what they possess. Because look at what he says. He that loveth silver shall not be satisfied with silver. So you could put in that same place, he that loveth abundance shall not be satisfied with increase. So see, some folk don't know how to function unless they got a certain amount. Some folk don't know how to function unless they got a certain amount. And that's why, again, going back to the confessions, you have in there, especially at the start, I know how to be properly abased. So I know how to function with nothing. Just like, watch this, I know how to function with abundance. You got to know how to do both. Because if you don't know how to do both, the others got you. Whatever one that you don't know how to function with, it's got you. And you won't know how to keep your mind straight, nor will you know how to utilize your fingerprint. Now here's why I need you to get this. Because now, again, all act right is done. Abundance will lead to abasement whenever purpose is not known. Abundance will lead to abasement whenever purpose is not known. Look at verse 12 and 13 there. The sleep of a laboring man is sweet, whether he eat little or much. But the abundance of the rich will not suffer him to sleep. You can't even sleep because you're trying to keep the money at a certain level. Because you think you're supposed to have this. So you can't even sleep. So abundance without purpose will lead to abasement. You will be at a place to where you won't even function. I'm laughing because on one of my calls this week, I had to roll because as I was beginning to help the person understand how to be able to function when things were going well and when things were horrible, and knowing how to function and still come out successful no matter what the conditions were. The person says, "You just reminded me of something that this older person told me." Said, "You complaining about eating with a loaf of bread under your arm." You complaining about not having nothing to eat and you got a loaf of bread under your arm. See what I need for you to understand about this specific thing right here? Look at verse 13. He says, "There is a sore evil which I have seen under the sun, namely riches kept for the owners thereof to their hurt." Watch this. The reason that I need you to get that is because you've heard the parable of the one who had an abundance in his barns, and he said, I'm going to use this and I'm going to build more barns, and then I'm going to take my ease. The reason that I need you to get this, watch this, is because abundance does not automatically mean advancement. Abundance does not automatically mean advancement. Just like movement does not automatically mean advancement. See, your advancement is directly connected, watch this, to your awareness of your assignment that is tailor-made for your fingerprint. Your advancement is directly connected to your awareness of your assignment that's tailor-made for your fingerprint. The reason that I need you to get this is because you're going to get an abundance of stuff for your assignment. When you get that abundance of stuff, if you don't know your assignment, you ain't going to be able to advance. Because if you don't know the assignment, you're going to do the wrong thing with the abundance eventually. Watch this. Watch this. See, increase does not satisfy the heart of abundance no matter what the heart of abundance is for. That heart of abundance can be for money. That heart of abundance can be for attention. That heart of abundance can be for sex. That heart of abundance can be for alcohol. That heart of abundance can be for drugs. Doesn't matter. But there's one that's about to hit you in the face that I need for you to understand, that some of you have had a heart of abundance for this and you still ain't been satisfied. The presence of God. God, we want more of your presence. We want more of you. You don't know what to do with what you got. Because if you knew what to do with what you got, you would not be longing for more. You would understand that what you got is more than enough. Because when you learn how to use it, and you know what it's for, and you know how to do it anywhere, because he says, "I will never leave you." So why are you asking for more? Why? Because you don't know how to utilize him while he's there. Because you haven't had the right mindset about what you need to be doing while he's right there with you. Because he's told you, "I will never leave you. I will never forsake you. No weapon formed against you is going to prosper." So why are you asking for more of me? Why are you asking for more of my presence when I'm everywhere present, nowhere absent? So are we lying when we say that? I know we're not. We're not lying when we say that. So since you're not lying when you say that, what are you asking for more presents for? Because it sounds good. It looks good to everybody else. But you still go home and cry behind closed doors because you still don't know what to do. Again, I told y'all, all act right has now went out the door. Because I wanted you to understand, you've had an abundance of plenty of things. The issue is you haven't known the purpose for the abundance of things that you've had. And by you not knowing the purpose of the things of abundance that you've had, now you're out in limbo. Here's what I need you to get. See, watch this. The only thing that will satisfy the heart of abundance is purpose. The only thing that will satisfy the heart of abundance is purpose. That's it. That's why I wanted you to see Ecclesiastes 5. When it said, he that loveth silver will not be satisfied by silver, nor he. Woo-wee. Watch this. See, Romans 8:28. I know you all know it. And we know that all things work together for good to those who love God, called according to his what? His purpose. So when you're called according to his purpose, and you know what that purpose is, he's telling you all things are going to work out for good, so why are you crying? Why are you crying? Why are you shook? If you know you're the called, and you know you're called according to his purpose, why are you crying? Why are you shook? We got to fix that. Watch this, and we got to fix it quick. That's why I'm trying to show you this about purpose. Because the abundance that you're going to have coming, if you don't know the purpose of it, it's going to be more of a headache than a blessing. And the God that we serve don't give us headaches. He gives us blessing. Again, going back to the confession, we have an abundance of wealth and no sorrow of it. See, those were not just me throwing you some words out there. They're all strategic to help build you up. But you've got to have the right mind about the abundance of what you have. Because if you don't have the right mind about it, you're not going to be okay. You're not going to see how it's going to work out for good. Because you're going to be thinking of whatever else you're thinking of. Now, why am I telling you this? Why do I want you to understand this? Glad you asked. Because assignment, watch this, and purpose are always intertwined. Assignment and purpose are always intertwined. There is no assignment that God has given you that is not directly intertwined with your purpose. So there's nothing that he's given you to do that is not directly intertwined with your purpose. You might think, this ain't got nothing to do with me. Why am I fooling with this? Even if it's just you knowing how to orchestrate somebody else. Knowing how to guide somebody else righteously. then it has something to do with your purpose. Here's why I need you to get this. Watch this. Whether you're called or whether you're chosen, you're gifted at the time of selection. Whether you're called or whether you're chosen, you are gifted at the time of selection. The reason I need you to get that, I want you to go to Romans 8:29. Because in Romans 8:29, that's where he explains some things that's going to take us on out and get us to the fullness of what I'm after today. Because watch this. Romans chapter 8, verse 29 says this. For whom he did foreknow, he also did predestinate to be conformed to what? The image of his Son, that he might be the firstborn among many brethren. Moreover, whom he did predestinate, them he also called, and whom he called, them he also justified, and whom he justified, them he also glorified. Why do I want you to see that? Because I need you to understand this. Probably want to write this down. Fruit comes from the gift, not vice versa. Fruit comes from the gift, not vice versa. See, gifts and callings remain the same. That's why he says the gifts and the callings of God are without repentance. He ain't backing off of what he gave you. Now, what he gives you, watch this, should produce something on the behalf of the kingdom that benefits you. What he gives you, the gift that he gives you, the gift that everybody in here has got, should produce something that advances the kingdom as well as you. Here's why I need you to understand that. Because, watch this, gifts and callings remain the same. Fruit grows, watch this, and can also wither if it's not utilized properly. You put some fresh fruit in a bowl and leave it there too long. What does it do? It rots. It's not that it was never good. It's that it wasn't utilized in the timing of it being good. See, when the scripture says stuff like, your gift makes room for you and brings you before great men. See, what it's trying to let you know is, your gift makes room for you and places you before great men so that you're able to produce fruit that will leave your fingerprint. See, when you get in front of great men, when you get in front of highly esteemed people, it's not for you to just look at them. They need to see you. They need to see you. Watch this. But if you don't know the purpose of your abundance, all you're doing is looking at them. And you're wasting opportunity. Because the opportunity of him putting you in front of them is so that they can see you and realize, something different about them. I know I met all the employees of the company, but that one right there, there's something different about them. See, the reason I need you to get that is because, watch this, when you get put in front of them great men, you need to be leaving something, watch this, that's going to remain to make them remember meeting you, just like you remembering meeting them. But see, you ain't got to do nothing special. You just got to learn how to be you to the fullest extent. And when you learn how to be you to the fullest extent, they going to see, wait, they're not shook by my presence. Everybody else is trying to kiss up to me. They ain't trying to kiss up to me. Everybody else is trying to interact with me. They ain't trying to interact with me. Either one or two things going to happen. Either they're going to get mad or they're going to remember you. But either way, they're going to remember you because you made them mad. They should respect me more. They still going to remember you. So this is why I need you to get this. See, gifts are designed to produce fruit. That's the design. And the reason I need you to get that is because, watch this, whether or not that happens is based upon what you're focused on. Whether or not the gift that you've been given produces fruit is based upon what you've been focused on. See, I got to ask you this question. Are you focused on the purpose or are you focused on the outcome? About to get heavy. Probably about to get painful. Are you focused on the purpose or are you focused on the outcome? See, never make the mistake of making the outcome the purpose. But that's what a lot of people have been doing. You've made the outcome the purpose. And the outcome is never supposed to be the purpose. The outcome should be a result of the purpose. See, but when you start getting focused on the outcome, you get away from the purpose. Watch this, because this is where it's about to get real good. When you make the outcome the purpose, iniquity is inevitable. Bent thinking is inevitable when you make the outcome the purpose. And when you make the outcome the purpose, watch this, that will cause you to miss information that you should be gathering along the way. Have you ever seen somebody get to a moment that they said that they was after and then not know what to do when they got there? Because they made the outcome the purpose. When what they should have been doing was being focused on the purpose, and then they would have been already built for the outcome. They'd already been built for it. So then they would have been able to, watch this, to embrace the outcome and advance with it instead of being stifled by it. Why am I telling you that? See, when you make, watch this, when you focus on the outcome, and y'all will probably be ready to witness on this one, but I just need you to hear me out. When you focus on the outcome instead of the purpose, manipulation becomes part of the process. So any of them times that you felt like you was being manipulated, it's because the people that were trying to manipulate you were focused on the outcome and not the purpose. That's why they didn't value you. They didn't value you enough, so they manipulated you so that they could get their outcome. And see, when you're a convenient contact, that's what they're doing to you. They go do everything that they want to do on a regular basis. But then when they get somewhere that they don't know what else they're going to do, all of a sudden, they ring in your phone. Now, you ain't thought nothing about me up to this point. Not even just to say hi, not just checking on you, nothing. But you need me for some information now. So now all of a sudden I'm important. That's manipulation. That's manipulation. Keep your fingerprints off of manipulation. Watch this. To you or from you. Anytime I get this certain feeling, y'all know when I'm telling y'all about the faker meter all the time? That manipulation sends that joker crazy. When I know somebody's trying to manipulate me, it takes every ounce of me to keep from going plumb off. AWF. It ain't even gonna spell right. That's how much off I want to go. Because it's like, just be you. You ain't got to do this. But when they do that, it just, And the reason that I need for you to get this is because, watch this. I want you to go to 1 Kings 12 and then we'll be done. 1 Kings 12, verse 26 through 33 says this. Because I'm going to show you something that I don't want you to ever forget. God's about to begin revealing some things of his time to you. And as he begins to reveal those things of his time to you, don't try to manipulate it. Don't try to adjust it. Don't try to change it. Just surrender to it and watch what God does with it. 1 Kings chapter 12. Verse 26 through 33 says this. It says, and Jeroboam said what? In his heart, now shall the kingdom return to the house of David. If this people go up to do sacrifice in the house of the Lord at Jerusalem, then shall the heart of this people turn again unto their Lord, even unto Rehoboam king of Judah, and they shall kill me and go again to Rehoboam king of Judah. So notice what happens here. In his heart, in his mind, he thinks, if these people go and interact at this place, go and talk to these people over here, go to this country over here, if these people go over here, they're going to like it so much over there that they're going to come back and kill me so that they can stay over there. So the jealous folks that don't want you talking to anybody else thinks that if you go talk to them over there, you're going to like them more than me, and then you won't come back and talk to me. Why am I telling you this? Because I want you to see the rest of this, and I don't want you to ever forget it. Because he then says in verse 28, whereupon the king took counsel and made 2 calves of gold and said unto them, it is too much for you to go up to Jerusalem. Behold, thy gods, O Israel, which brought thee out of the land of Egypt. And he set the one in Bethel, and the other put he in Dan. And this thing, what does that say? Became a sin. It wasn't a sin initially. It became a sin. So watch what happens. Became a sin, for the people went to worship before the one, even unto Dan. And he made an house of high places, and made priests of the lowest of the people, which were not of the sons of Levi. And Jeroboam ordained a feast in the 8th month, on the 15th day of the month, like unto the feast that is in Judah. And he offered upon the altar. So did he in Bethel, sacrificing unto the calves that he had made. And he placed in Bethel the priests of the high places which he had made. So he offered upon the altar which he had made in Bethel the 15th day of the 8th month, even in the month which he had devised of his own heart, and ordained a feast unto the children of Israel, and offered upon the altar and burnt incense. Here's why I need you to understand that. He knew what God's instructions were for the feast days. And instead of just following God's instructions for the feast days, he decided to make up his own. Because he was worried that the people would leave. Was worried that they would turn their backs. So he starts to manipulate. Offering money. Building golden calves. Offering incentives. To try to get them to do something instead of what God set up. Why am I telling you this? When you try to make up your own rules about what God himself has set to be the standard, you are leaving the wrong kind of fingerprint. And that's a dangerous place to be. Because at that point, you're going against what's written, and you're going against what's designed to deliver you. Why am I telling you that? Because when he does that for the 8th day in the 15th month, it's supposed to be, the 8th month in the 15th day, it's supposed to be the 7th month and the 15th day, which is the Feast of Tabernacles. And by him going against what was written for all to follow, he now positions himself for a level of judgment that don't nobody want. So as we conclude today, make accomplishing what God said the way that he said to accomplish it according to his word your purpose. Make accomplishing what God said the way that he said to accomplish it according to his word your purpose. And when you do that, then your mind and your fingerprint will always stay in sync for a glorious outcome that matches his kingdom. See, he's trying to get you to a place to where you produce kingdom outcome every time. Every time. Doesn't matter what you're doing. Doesn't matter who you're involved with. He's made you a kingdom representative. So his goal is to get you to the place to where you can go in any environment and still be the you that matches the kingdom of God. Any environment. That's why Jesus, anywhere he went, the kingdom of heaven is at hand. Why? Because he's there. Even though that place might not have been the kingdom of heaven, might not have been God's kingdom, but because he's there, it automatically had to switch. That's the mindset that I want you to have as you go forward in the coming days. That's what we're trying to build here. That's why I want to make sure that from this day forward, you know that everything that God's given you to do is set up a specific way to be done. Now I got to do something right here before we get ready to do before I give you scriptures and do our closeout. Brother Quintus, I need you to come up. Melissa, I need you to come up. Kim, I need you to come up. Ronnie, I need you to come up. Because what I need y'all to understand is the level that we're about to go to is about to be fast-paced. It's about to be different. It's about to overcome. Just need y'all to put your hands over. Just put it over this area right here. This bottle right here, for any of those, everybody that's entered the building, you know that we've got bottles up front. There's 11 bottles up front. And this is the 12th. All of these bottles were oil that was poured around the entire perimeter of this complex. This was the last bit of the oil. What the Lord told me to do, He told me to take and pour the rest of this oil over the hands of the leaders that were with me before we got here. Because I'm going to be getting a new bottle of oil next week sometime. As I pour this oil over their hand, it's going to be representative of transition that is set to take place at this appointed time. These 4 leaders up here, and Reggie's not here, he's at work, but these 4 leaders here, they know the heart of this place. They know the heart of Ecclesia because they've watched it from the hotel to here. Don't mess with these 4 at all. First off, they'll get you themselves. Second, you mess with them, you got to deal with me. And you don't want to deal with me about who I know I'm having to have protection over. That same thing goes for y'all as members of Ecclesia. I don't want nobody messing with you either. But you mess with this core group here, and you got double problem. I'm wanting you to understand that because there's going to be things that I'm putting in their hands in the coming days. Whatever they say, follow, period. Don't question it. Don't try to manipulate it. Please don't manipulate it. Whatever they say, that's what goes. It ain't got to come back to me because I trust them. So as I pour this oil upon all of their hands, and I complete this, I'll bring your hands together. As I complete the pouring of this oil, represents the anointing that will now shift. The foundation has been set for us to move in the fullness of His kingdom and start to leave our fingerprint. Start to leave what has been built for this appointed time. And as we begin to go in the coming days to carry it out, dry your hands off. As we begin to go into the coming days, new oil, new power, new revelation, all of those things will begin to be manifested here at Ecclesia. Y'all can go back to your seats now. So the scriptures that I need for y'all to look up for this week. Be John chapter 15, verses 15 and 16. Also need you to look up 1 Corinthians 12, verse 4. Need you to look up Romans chapter 11, verse 29. Need you to look up Matthew chapter 20, verse 16. Also need you to look up Luke chapter 18, verse 9 through 14. Psalm 37, verse 11. So John chapter 15, verse 15 and 16. 1 Corinthians chapter 12, verse 4. Romans chapter 11, verse 29. Matthew chapter 20, verse 16. Luke chapter 18, verses 9 through 14. And Psalm 37, verse 11. Everybody repeat after me. Heavenly Father, Most High God of Israel, Jehovah Sabaoth, Lord of hosts, help me to keep my mind and my fingerprint in sync with the intent of your will for me from this day forward. In Christ Jesus' name, amen. The Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord make his face shine upon you and be gracious to you. The Lord lift up his countenance upon you and give you peace. And as we leave this blessed place, order the steps of our feet into all other blessed places. Amen. Whew.